Start recording, start streaming. All right, and we're live.
All right, welcome to Verbal Assault. This is the podcast that some have called the Seinfeld a podcast. I don't really agree with that, but that's what some people say. My name is Nathan Eckel. I'm your sort of host tonight. Gonna go down the list of the people we have in today. First, we got Steve Marr. He's sort of our space
Guru.
wizard, space guru.
Groupie?
Yes. He's our Elon Musk
Maybe
groupie.
groupie?
He's our Elon Musk groupie.
Right.
That would be Steve. We got Dave 70. He's our sort of our aged, our aged wise one that we have on the podcast. Keeps us straight. I mean, he keeps us on the straight and narrow. We have Becca Penland. She's sassy with a voice of gold. Becca.
Hello.
Wow.
And Patrick Everett. He's in with the odd observations and the bizarre jokes.
Don't
That's
say my
me.
last name.
And then we got Brad.
What's up, man?
What's up, guys?
You got a
Brad
group of people,
always.
don't you?
Oh, we have 6 people in here besides you, so 7 all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Nothing like ganging up on me.
No,
Oh,
No.
not
There's
at
no
all.
ganging up.
No.
And now we're really happy to have Mad Mike Hughes. He is. Let's see, Mike. You are a daredevil. You're a cat lover. You have actually launched more people in a rocket than Elon Musk.
That's a
Yes,
fact.
I know. And that's a scary thought, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Now, of course, I know I have an unfair advantage. He has 3,800 employees. I have no employees.
Right.
So,
You got that one dude from the documentary.
yeah, well,
Waldo.
he just kind of hangs around. And because he's my landlord, that's why I let him come around.
Yeah.
Oh no, Waldo, not Waldo. I'm talking about the other guy.
Yeah.
He was kind of the gopher at the end.
Tim?
He went
Was
and got the ice.
Oh, yeah, Pat. He just kind of
Pat,
showed up. So anyway, hey,
Oh.
let me make a comment. My
Yeah,
first
yeah.
comment. You remember the Seinfeld show? I really didn't watch it because I really didn't like Seinfeld. But that chick that's on that show, Julia Dreyfus,
Yeah.
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 man, she used to do it for me. Okay,
Yeah.
something about that girl. I know. I tell you what. If I ever hooked up with her, she would think I would be a veterinarian. Okay.
Mad Mike, you're gonna fit in just
I would do
fine.
things. I would do things that's illegal in the lower 48 states to her.
Mike, you're
So
already
now
our,
that's over with.
Mike, you're already our most favorite person ever.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Okay.
Well, I just starting off, I just kind of wanted to get some of your history, kind of where you came from, like what got you where you are today is kind of what we wanted to start with. Just a little background for people.
Well, my dad was a sailor, my mom was a waitress, and it started from there. Okay. So so that was a true story. But anyway, you know what? I was a racer my whole life, and that's the only thing I was interested in.
Yeah.
And, for when I was a young kid, 12 or 13, I really was interested in baseball. I was really, really good at it. If I hadn't stopped, I could have gone straight to the majors. I mean, I was incredible.
Wow.
Every position I played except pitcher. I couldn't pitch. But anyway, I just got burned out on it, and I got involved with racing again, and it went downhill from there.
So I used to be into NASCAR a lot back in, I guess, my favorite driver was Rusty Wallace, so that kind of tells you what time frame it was. But like, who were some of the guys you raced alongside? Anybody that we'd remember?
Rusty, I really never got to meet him. I know he was one of the smartest guys on the circuit at the time.
Yeah.
I was really good friends with Michael Waltrip for a while.
Oh, he is such a great
and
dude. I've met him several times, man. What a nice guy.
Yeah, nice man, funny. And I was good friends with Rob Moroso.
Uh-huh.
And Rob Moroso is I actually built some of his cars. The car that was on the front row at Daytona that year in the Busch Series, I hung a body on.
Oh, nice.
And I think the first race he won in Busch was at Myrtle Beach. I think I hung as your short track car. I think I hung the body on that one.
Nice.
But anyway, he was a nice kid. His dad had a lot of money. Of course, he's the one that got killed drunk driving and killed another woman in another car. And that was that whole thing in NASCAR. And I was there during the kind of heyday. My first time in NASCAR was the winter of '86. I went to work for a guy named Will Cronkite, and he was at White Crown Engineering in Fort Mill, South Carolina, and he did a bunch of the show cars. And we did the Courage show car. I helped restore the $1 million car of Bill Elliott's for the museum.
Oh, wow.
Which wound up, the one that won the Winston Million the first year in '85.
Yeah.
Well, he raced it like a year or two after that. He even road raced it. And then I put it back to I did all the restoration on the body work, and someone else painted it and put the decals on it. But I'm the one that took it apart, did the body work on it, and then put it back together, and then someone painted it and put the decals on it and went straight to Darlington for the museum. So, I've seen a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So from about 88 to 93, let me tell you what happened in NASCAR. That is, you had
restrictor plates.
A bunch of it. Oh,
that's what happened.
Oh, yeah.
Restrictor plates. But no one's ever going to beat Bill Elliott's record, though, are they?
Never. 212 miles an hour.
No one's ever going to top that.
Yeah. So basically, in that time frame, and I got to be, not really good friends with Tim Rich, but I met him. I had his home phone number in Deerfield Beach, where he lived in the wintertime. I thought he was a great guy. He wanted to be the next Burt Reynolds. That was his goal.
Mm-hmm. Who doesn't?
Yeah, right. Who doesn't want to be Burt Reynolds?
Well, let me tell you. Okay, here's a little story about Burt Reynolds.
Okay.
Burt Reynolds at one time was the top box office draw for 6 years in Hollywood. You know that?
Yeah.
I
mean, it makes sense. I didn't know that. No.
Now, the guy that did his last movie is a friend of mine. I'm just going to say I don't want to say his last name, but you can look up the movie. It's called The Last Great Movie Star.
All right.
He wants to sell my life story in Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
So that's the 6 degrees of Burt Reynolds with Mad Mike Hughes. So everything's tied in 6 degrees. It's like everybody's tied into Kevin Bacon and Tom Cruise somehow. I did the Days of Thunder movie. Okay, I went to the big party, and Tom Cruise was in the movie, and
I wanted to hear about that.
That's one of the neatest parties.
I listened to your book, man, and I love Days of Thunder is one of my favorite movies. That a lot of people thinks it's hokey because it's not realistic, and you're right, it's not realistic. But I love that movie. What were you doing at the were you driving one of the cars or something? That'd be awesome.
No, I built the car that did the big crash in the movie at Daytona.
Oh.
Here's some more trivia. That was the show car for Rob Moroso. It was a Delta 88 Oldsmobile, and I turned it into a Chevy Lumina.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, it still had the V6 in it.
Uh-huh.
And they did not even crash at Daytona. They crashed it at Volusia County Speedway, and they towed it behind another car. And they let it go and crashed into the wall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to ask because I know there was there's a huge pileup or a couple of huge pileups in the movie. Like, how did they do that safely without anybody getting hurt?
Well, like I said before, that car was crashed at another racetrack down the road about 30 miles. It's called Volusia County Speedway, if I remember right. Was an asphalt track, and that's where that was crashed at. And the motor was so worn out, they had to tow it behind another car.
Wow.
And let it go.
And they just let it go, got the tow truck out of the way and let it smash into the wall.
Let it smash in the wall, and I offered to take the ride in it, but no one wanted to pay me.
Oh.
I don't blame you, man.
It's something I'm really curious about. Mike, how did you kind of transition into the daredevil aspect of your life? Where you just...
of course, I was a motorcycle racer initially, and of course, I had a friend that actually jumped motorcycles over cars. His name was Steve Hunt. Last time I saw Steve Hunt, he was homeless in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh.
And Steve, if you look up dead motorcycle jumpers, it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
I mean, people got injured and died during that. And no one was making money except for Evel Knievel, Debbie Lawler. Gary Wells made money, but he almost died at Caesar's Palace back in, 80? When did he try that jump? He tried the Caesar's Palace jump and crashed. Actually, he missed the down ramp and hit a concrete wall. And he made money. Oh, yeah. In fact, the guy that saved his life was a friend of Evel Knievel's named Lonnie Hammergren. Lonnie Hammergren used to be the lieutenant governor in Nevada, but he also was with the top neurosurgeon in America at one time.
Really?
He could save your life.
Wow.
He discovered when he was there, he looked at Gary and he said, this guy has got a torn aorta, which is a big vessel go to your heart. It tore it away from his heart. He was going to die, and that's what saved his life.
Wow.
With Lonnie,
Oh, man.
he went to the hospital, and they fixed it, and he lived through it, and he's alive today.
That's
So,
awesome.
oh yeah, man, I got stories from here to Texarkana. So
You got time from
So
here.
you started racing motorcycles, and you knew people that jumped them. What brought you kind of into that realm?
Well, I thought about it at one time, but there was just really no money in it, and there was a lot of guys getting hurt.
Yeah.
And of course, just there's 3 or 4 people making money. There's another guy named Rex Blackwell, I think, made some money, and Gary Davis wanted to be a big stunt man in Hollywood, and really a nice guy. I've never met him, but everyone says he's a great guy. And
what was your first
jump?
jump?
You know what?
Like where and when
Actually,
was that
mine
first
was
one?
a limousine. Okay, here's the story.
Was it the one in the movie? Was that the first jump, or was that a different one?
No, my first one was in Pahrump, Nevada, which is outside of Vegas.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be for real TV, and I can't remember if it aired on that or not. That's when that used to be a big show on TV, real TV. And John Daly was a host who was a great guy. I met him a couple of times, and he lived in Vegas, and hopefully he's still around. He was a nice man. And he just graduated to do some other stuff, and one day I wake up in my apartment in Bloomington, California. I said, that's what I'm going to do. I said, what? And that was recreate the Knievel Sky Cycle Steam Rocket Jump, because everyone talked about it. No one did it.
Hell
Right.
Everyone talked about it.
Yeah. That's why you do it.
That's, yeah. And, I mean, everyone, Robbie Knievel's talked about it since 1992, and he still hasn't done it, and he never will. And I even tried, I'll tell you something else. I actually contacted Wembley Stadium twice about doing the Evel Knievel bus jump there. And I thought that'd be another big event. Try to pack Wembley Stadium again.
Yeah.
And that jump almost killed Knievel also on live TV and on ABC. And they told me if we even approve it, the rental is $650,000.
Good.
Wow.
Whew. That's a lot of trips in a limo right there.
So that pretty much ended that deal right there. So, Robbie Knievel even talked about that for a while, but he never had a contract.
Yeah.
It just never. So it's really sad. Now there is one ultimate stunt that someone actually did. They jumped a jet-powered, it had a Lincoln Continental body on it, but there's no way a Lincoln Continental. And a guy named Ken Carter was supposed to do it. And they've even done an opera over it. They did a movie called Devil at Your Heels, and you got to look this up. It's an incredible stunt. It took 4 or 5 years, $1 million, and in 1970 money. He was going to jump a Lincoln Continental, jet-powered, 1 mile from Canada, Morrisburg, Ontario, into an island in the United States. I think it's called, I can't remember the island now, but it's in the United States, and it got to be a crazy story. I mean, a crazy-ass story. And some guy wound up doing it one day, Ken Powers in Ken Carter's car, who was at the hotel because they was distracting him because they thought he'd lost his nerve. They put his buddy in it. His buddy wound up breaking his back in 6 places. I mean, it's a badass crazy story. So anyway, I tried to reproduce that jump.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I went there, and you got to realize these people at these city councils are criminals. Okay, they're criminals, and they had no idea about PR or marketing. I went to my city council meeting last night in Apple Valley, California. I stood there. I had 3 minutes to speak. I held up my movie poster, Rocket Man, which is getting 10,000 downloads a day on Amazon Prime.
I've watched it twice.
Watched it last night.
Yeah, we watched it. We threw a little money your way.
Yeah, so basically I said, folks, this is getting worldwide publicity. I've got a TV show now on Science Channel that's going to start airing the first of next year. And how come no one in the city council has contacted me?
Right.
Trying to help, and it's just, they look like they had no idea. No idea. So, see, you got to realize, just because someone is in some position of power doesn't mean they know jack shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hell,
no doubt. No doubt.
Lately.
You'd help put them on the map. I mean, how many people would come and watch that there? You know, just you'd think they'd be interested in the revenue, if nothing else.
It's not always a
but
pre-requirement.
Yeah, but see, what turned the thing down for me to do the 1 mile jump between Canada and America was the St. Lawrence Seaway Authority, which dictates how the ships go through there. And of course, when lawyers get involved, lawyers only see liability.
Right.
They have no balls, okay? And they only see there's no liability. So they say, well, no, we can't allow this, you know? So
I've heard you talk about this, you know, the kind of the idea of what makes a daredevil, and there has to be risk, and nobody else wants to even allow you to take the risk.
Yeah. So someone told me this years ago. They said, Michael, realize this one thing. There is no liability in saying no. No one's going to lose their job. So that's why Vegas doesn't do anything good anymore, because now it takes a committee of bean counters to make a decision. Not one guy's going to stand up and say, you know what, we're going to do this. I believe in this. Guys, at one time I had a contract with Harris, which owned Binion's for, I think, 1 or 2 days before they sold it to Mountain Gaming in West Virginia. But they were still managing the property. I was going to jump a limousine, 7 stories from one building to another in downtown Las Vegas over Ogden Street, from one parking garage to another.
Oh, yes.
Okay?
Who would not want to watch that?
I'd watch that on Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, so here's the deal. Okay, so Harris goes, okay, we're going to let you do this. And we're going to sign off on it. But you've got to pay us $500,000 to do it and pay all the bills.
Ooh.
So it's going to be $750,000. Now, does that make sense to anybody?
No. I mean,
why would I do that?
Right.
Get Fox on board to finance it, maybe.
Yeah, well, and you know, what TV people will go for, they really don't. We had an offer. We had an opportunity to do a rocket race in Sturgis August 10th of this year, and could not get anyone to sign off on it, a network.
At
and
Sturgis?
The same network even doing my show.
That seems like the kind of thing they'd want at Sturgis.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but see, you got to get people to pay for it. No one wants to pay for nothing.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Slap some
insurance ain't cheap either.
Advertisers on the side of it, I guess.
You had no idea how many cool things gets booted to the side of the road.
Right.
Because, and I tell you what, you can say what you want to about China chasing jobs out of this country, but bar attorneys have chased more jobs out of this country than China ever will.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I can
try to go make a child's motocross helmet in this country. See what happens to you. You will not get liability insurance. It's impossible because they're afraid of lawsuits.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that
Who
makes
files
sense.
lawsuits?
Yeah.
See?
The attorneys.
So bar attorney, I warn people, never hire a damn attorney for nothing. I don't. I file lawsuits against them.
Beat them at their own game.
Bar attorney stands for this: British Accredited Registry. They are foreign agents, and once you hire one, corpus juris secundum. There's a legal term for you. It makes you a ward of the court, an infant, and of unsound mind. That's what it says.
Wow. So
they don't tell you that, do you? When you hire an attorney, they don't tell you that, do they?
They don't show you that on Law and Order either.
I've never hired one. I don't have enough money to hire an attorney.
I'm going against 5 or 6 right now in the DOJ. I got 2 attorneys I'm after the DOJ. So yeah. So I'm just going to tell you the facts, okay? And I don't sugarcoat anything. It's like when I go to Starbucks, which I really don't like Starbucks because I don't like the guy's political views. But you know, I go in there. I don't want any girly stuff, okay?
Yeah.
No whipped cream in my coffee. I just want the damn coffee.
Right.
Yeah.
Big ass coffee. I'm not using your Italian.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money for a coffee.
I don't want any whipped cream or chocolate drizzles on my coffee. I'm a man.
Right.
Here.
So
basically that's my outlook on a lot of things. This country has lost its balls.
That's true.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
100%.
Everybody's
Completely
worried about
agree.
getting sued. We got Sue happy, and now everyone's worried about getting sued. So nobody wants to do anything.
There you go.
It's the
And
age
who
of
files the
litigation.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that is what has killed a bunch of daredevil stuff in this country.
So
And that's what killed.
other than the
Yeah.
rockets, which I definitely want to talk about. I want to know about the rocket.
Yeah.
I'm into rockets, but so have you kind of hung up like the county fair type stunts and the jumping stuff, or are like, because it sounds like what you're saying, you're kind of talking about in the past, like you're not trying to chase that now, right? Like you're sticking to the rocket for right now.
Yeah, I want to go to space.
Yes,
And we have
I do
begun
too,
building.
brother.
Yeah. Now let me clarify this. The edge of space, which is called the Kármán line, that's
Right.
the recognized edge of space, 62.8 miles up. We have started building the vessel to get me there.
Yes, was
It's
it
a
the one?
$2.5 million deal.
Was it the one you described in the movie with it's got the balloon and the rocket combo thing?
Yes.
Well,
Yes, it's called a
describe that.
raccoon.
Describe that for our listeners, how that is going to kind of work, and for us. I mean, 'cause
Okay, so
we're not rocket
so
scientists.
basically, well, I'm not either. I'm not an expert at nothing. Okay, I don't claim to be an expert at nothing.
You clearly
So
know a lot
basically,
more than we do
he's-
about it.
You're an
Well,
Mike's an expert
you
of
know,
having really big balls.
Yeah.
And just doing.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. And I will roll the dice.
Yeah.
Most
Exactly.
people will not do that. So basically, this is Waldo's creation. This is not my idea. He's the one that does all the research. And basically, a balloon, which would be 40 stories tall and cost $300,000, filled with $100,000 worth of helium, will pull me up around 22 miles. And then what it calls, it equalizes. In other words, it will not go up any higher. It will start flying sideways. And that's when you cut the balloon loose, and then you fire the hydrogen peroxide rockets, and that will carry me up about 2 Gs, the other 40-something miles. And from start to finish, this should be 2.5 hours. And I believe, honestly, and I'm not being, how should I say this? I'm going to say this as humbly as possible. This will be the most watched event in mankind history.
Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah.
yeah.
I'd watch
I
it.
mean, I definitely want to watch it.
And I'm not saying the United States, I'm saying worldwide. This will be
How-
No, I
carried
completely
in more
agree.
countries
How
than anything.
How far off do you think it is? Do you think you're going to get there? You think you're
Well,
going to
we're-
get the support? Now let's talk about. You have a GoFundMe. Everybody out there,
Yeah,
just
and it's,
I
it's
found it.
embarrassing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I was able to find it
You
by
know what-
searching for GoFundMe Mike Hughes. And,
Okay.
And actually, what we were
I'll drop
talking
it in
about
the
doing.
chat. I'm on it.
Yeah, what we were
Drop it in the
talking
chat.
about doing was live on the show, going ahead and donating.
Cool.
And I want to do that. I want to. Look, man, I'm a pizza guy. Okay, so I'm going to throw you $5, and hopefully we can get some others to follow suit.
I got 5 on it.
You know the sad thing? The Flat Earth community should be funding this. It should have already been funded.
Yeah.
You got a good point.
Yeah,
I'm wondering why
I
they're
agree with
not.
you there, Mike.
I wanted
the-
to,
Yeah.
exactly. I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, I've spent a lot of time online watching flat Earth videos. I've watched flat Earth debunking videos, and there's a lot of people in support of the idea of the flat Earth out there. A lot of them. I've talked to them, but why aren't they supporting what you're doing?
I don't know. Some people, if it's not possible in their mind, they think it's not possible. And most
It's totally
people have the
possible.
inabilities. Well, sure it is. But even, see, you got to realize this technology was done by NACA, which is before NASA.
Mm-hmm.
They had these raccoon rockets, but no one was ever launched from one.
Right.
See,
Yeah.
And that's one of Waldo's ideas. So, and like I said, this would get me up there and down and back here to Earth in about 2.5 hours. But and people would be able to talk to me all the way up there.
Yeah.
And most of the way back, and on the way back, I would be falling at 2,000 miles an hour for a while.
Oh man,
That's a lot of fast,
oh,
bro.
Man, that's so okay. So that's one thing I was thinking about, because I know when Felix did it, it was all about make sure you don't impart any rotation on yourself once you jump, because you're basically in a vacuum at that point. There's just a very few molecules up there, and if you start spinning, that can be trouble, right?
Yeah, you don't want to tumble. See, that's
Right.
what you don't want to do.
Right.
You don't want to tumble. Now, vacuum, this is a big misnomer. Sometimes vacuum just means void.
Right. Yeah,
It
I mean,
means
that's
void.
it's
There's nothing
it's
there.
a lack of atmosphere. There's nothing there to stabilize against. Like when a skydiver is falling, he's able to use his hands and legs to kind of keep himself,
Yeah.
control how he's falling. But if there's not enough atmosphere for you to push off of, then you can just start tumbling and lose consciousness at some point, right?
Yeah, that's what they say. I don't know. I've never been up there. What do I know?
Well,
Jealous.
I'm saying if you were to start spinning out of control, then that could be trouble. That was the thing with Felix, was that they were like, you don't want to start this spin, because if you do, you might lose consciousness and not be able to open your own parachute.
Yeah, so, they also claimed he was at the edge of space, which is bullshit.
Right. How high did he go? I know it wasn't past the Kármán line. I'm familiar with the Kármán line. It's 100
Oh, God, no, he
kilometers
only
or
went a
62.
third of the way.
Huh?
He went up like 130,000 feet or something.
Which
He wasn't even close.
Translate that to miles. Translate 130,000 feet into miles. I'm asking Siri to do it for me.
Well, I think it's about 70,000 feet, right? That's about where that line is. 70,000, somewhere in there.
The Kármán
I don't know
line?
what line.
Yeah.
The Kármán line is, it's 100 kilometers.
62.8 miles.
Yeah, 62.8 miles or 100 kilometers.
That's where I'm planning on going. So Felix wasn't even a third of the
So
way there.
there you
Yeah.
go. So 130,000 feet is 24 and a half miles, basically. So yeah, you're right.
There you go.
He's about a third of the way.
Third of the way.
Yeah.
Now, you got to realize, Red Bull, depending on who you believe, spent anywhere from $10 to $26 million, and they were 4 years behind schedule.
And he almost chickened out from the looks of it.
Well,
I watched the documentary, and he kind of disappeared for a while, and they were wondering if he was going to follow through.
Well, no, this is what happened. He freaked out and he got claustrophobic in the space helmet. It took him 6 months with a therapy to get over that.
Oh,
That's what I was told.
All right. Well, yeah, can't fault the man for that.
I have talked. Oh, no, you can't. No, I'm telling you, man, you can say what you want to, but when it comes time to do this stuff, it's a whole different world.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I believe it.
I totally believe
It's
that.
easy for us to watch it from our couch, but I'll bet it's a completely other thing for you in there.
Yeah, what are you thinking
yes.
about when you're strapping into that rocket and you're getting ready to go, and you're basically sitting on this bomb? What's going through your head? I mean, are you feeling the fear, or?
Well, first of all, it is a scary thing to do, and it's supposed to be. I just don't want to compound the dangers, which is what's happened several times with me. Either it's had a leak, or there's an O-ring leaking, or something going on. And then one time I was in the rocket, 2 months ago, and it was just too hot. It was 118 degrees outside.
Oh.
It was starting to burn me, and the canopy wasn't even closed yet.
Oh, man.
And so I'm probably 5 to 10 minutes from launching, but I couldn't take it anymore. It was already burning me.
Yeah,
it
you
pulled
can't
me
do
out
that.
of it.
Yeah.
No, it was burning me already without even the canopy closed.
Oh,
so I'm
man.
thinking, I'm done.
Yeah.
They close the canopy, I'm done. Now, once you launch, it all goes away. But I don't think I could make it that long. So it's just a lot of things. And I'm telling you, this thing wants to kill you.
Mhm.
You understand that?
Yep.
Okay? It's looking for a way to kill you.
Right. So I was.
It's not like, this is a whole different world. If I had $2 million to spend on this, and it already been up 2 or 3 times with a dummy, and it had remote control parachutes, now that's a different world. That's a stunt.
Right.
Okay? But this thing has not been fired since I fired it March 24th of last year.
Is the one that we saw you fly on the documentary? Is that one? Are you making that one flight worthy again? I know it got banged up in the landing, but are you going to make that? So you are making that? So you're going to fly that one again? Hell yeah!
I fixed it.
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah.
Reusability,
That was
y'all.
my job in NASCAR. I repaired crashed cars.
Right.
And I could,
Okay.
So if you crash your car somewhere and knock the front and rear clip off, I could fix it, put the body back on, and you go racing again. So that's what do these rockets. You knock the nose off them. I fixed it. I make sure it's lined up again, and make sure the thrust line's okay. And here we go again.
One thing I was, the first time I saw this rocket, the green and white one, the first thing I noticed was that the fins extend out past the engine bell. And I've never seen that on a rocket, and I watch a lot of rockets. I'm into the rocket stuff. Why did you do that? Is it just for stability, or is there some other insight you had to want to do that?
Well, that's the last thing you want that rocket to feel when it's leaving the ramp. You want the wings to grab.
Mm-hmm.
You do not want the thrust or the rocket nozzle behind that. You want the wings the last thing on the rocket.
Right.
Okay, because once it leaves the ramp, the only thing that's controlling it now is the thrust line.
Mm-hmm. And that engine doesn't, the engine bell doesn't gimbal at all, right? It's just pointing straight, and it can't gimbal at all, right? Okay.
There's no controls. There's no nothing. It's just you got it up
You
the
probably
ramp
wouldn't want it to gimble.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my pickup lines when I used to date a bunch of girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you want to.
Oh,
You don't want
let's
it to
hear
gimbal.
some more.
Show you that gimbal.
Let's hear some more of the pickup lines.
Oh God. Well, mine is now is, hey, you want to come home and see my rocket?
Yeah.
That's got to be the best one.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's a good one.
How?
Or when I get ready to go to the bathroom, I tell them to stand by. I'm not supposed to lift nothing heavy,
Yeah.
So.
All right. Okay.
Take notes, guys.
So
It is what it is.
in the movie, it looked like the water was being added kind of like one jug at a time. Is that right, or was there a hose?
Actually, now we actually siphoned it in with a pump.
Okay.
But maybe we wanted to add another gallon to it, or we would.
Okay.
Or
All
you
right.
couldn't get it all down you can't get the very end. The remaining 2 gallons down.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
So that was sort of something they
Yeah.
kind of just did in editing. But also, I was wondering, what's the heating element inside the tank? Because obviously, you're not putting 400-degree water in there. You're putting in, ambient temperature water, and then it's heated up. How are you heating it up inside that tank?
Yeah, it's got immersion heaters. It's just like a giant water heater.
Okay,
And
so you
it's
just
very
like
well
coils
insulated.
inside there, or something.
No, it's well, you could say that it's these probes that goes up in there, and then the generators directly wired to the electrodes or the probes that's sticking out of the back of the tank.
Okay. And how long does it take to reach that 400 degrees?
Dude, that's a mystery every time you do it.
Oh, really?
Huh.
Shit.
It depends on the generator. It depends on the temperature of the water. It depends on how well it's insulated. It's just,
Outside temperature too, I'm
plus
sure.
that last time, now we're running 20 more gallons of water.
Oh, really? In the
Now
same
it's got-
tank?
the tank's 112 gallons.
Man.
We're going to launch this time with 95.
And
because I'm trying to go a mile up.
Who's welding this? Are you welding this yourself? The tank? That's got to be a strong tank, man.
Yeah. Basically, I have someone else weld on my pressure tanks. Although I
Okay.
did weld the bungs in it for the heaters.
Yeah.
I did that. So, but no, I really don't like to weld anymore.
Well,
I don't.
I
have the
wouldn't. I
patience.
mean, it seems like you would want to have somebody that does this. That is
Oh.
all they do is they know how to weld tanks that will not leak. Because if you spring a leak at all, that thing becomes a bomb.
Yeah, basically, you can get a vapor leak, but as far as I pressure check the tanks, of course. It's not like I'm a total idiot.
Right.
I'm just halfway there. So
Right.
yeah, this tank here is pressure checked up to I think 360, 370. It held up for 6 hours.
Okay.
And I'm not going to charge it more than 350 psi anyway. So because of I don't need to with a 4-inch rocket nozzle. It gives me the thrust that I need.
Okay. So if you went hotter with the water, would it give you more thrust?
Well, yeah, you can if you got a pressure vessel. You could heat the thing up to probably 20,000 psi and get 1,000,000 pounds of thrust.
Oh man.
Oof.
But you couldn't lift it. It just your insides couldn't take it. See what I mean?
With the G forces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is it possible you could, put a lot of small nozzles on, like maybe put 21-inch nozzles on it? Maybe it's more controllable. Maybe whatever. But dude, that all takes money and time and all. Yeah. And there's just no need for that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Not well. Obviously, you've done it. You've done it without all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, done it without all that stuff, So, is there better ways to do it? Yeah, I would like to go jump the real part of the Grand Canyon, 15 miles.
Mm-hmm.
But you need a hydrogen peroxide rocket for that. They'll fire long enough, and you can live with the thrust. You know what I mean? This thing here, next time this thing launches, it's going to have 8,000 pounds of thrust.
Are you at the limit of the size that this rocket can be with the way you're doing it with the steam? Or like, could you go longer? Have a. I know the rocket equation
really.
is like if you go bigger, then you need more thrust, and if you need more thrust, then you got to go bigger.
Well, then you need more fuel. Then you need a bigger tank. You need it's all kinds of stuff. But the problem is water is still 8 pounds a gallon. So now this thing's going to have 95 gallons in it, which is what it had in it last time I tried to launch it.
Mm-hmm.
When it got too, I started having problems with the heat, and then after that, the O-rings 2 straight weekends. So I've eliminated all the O-rings. Now we're firing a rocket from behind, which is a little bit more dangerous. I like all the stuff inside the rocket,
mm-hmm.
all the plunger and everything else. But now you've added a bunch of weight to it. But now I've taken that out. Then all the stuff is mounted behind the rocket, and I'm doing that. And no one else has launched themselves in a rocket from a mobile launch platform either. I'm the only guy that's ever done that.
I love that.
You're doing this.
Yeah, go ahead, Nathan.
I was saying you're doing this again soon. You're planning on doing another launch.
Oh yeah.
Are you going to film that too?
Oh yeah, they're wanting to make this the 4th episode of the TV show. They're waiting on me.
Wait, TV show?
I'm waiting on.
What TV?
They're not funding
on the
you at all?
Science Channel. I want to know more
it's called
about that too.
Homemade Astronaut.
What?
Yeah, it's a done deal.
Homemade Astronaut.
It's already been announced. Hollywood Reporter's already reported, so it's got to be real if they said it.
And that's it's a TV show, right?
Are they financing
it's called
that at all?
Homemade
Or are they
Astronaut?
throwing you any money?
Well, it's by Wow Productions. They're in Hollywood. They got a real building in Hollywood and Cherokee. I've been there, so it's a real company. Got like 20 TV shows, So the problem is they do that. They're known for that RuPaul Drag Race show, which don't expect me on that show anytime soon.
You're not going to get started on that? Come on.
Yeah, here we go. I've got the article pulled up here. Science Channel Greenlight series about homemade astronauts right here.
There is no reason for me to lie to you.
No. No, Mike, I'm not fact checking you. This is for the viewers. We've got a few.
He just wants to watch it.
We've got a few people watching on Mixer, and I just want to pull it up just so they can see it. It says the show will follow 3 teams of DIY Rocketeers as they attempt to get to space on tight budgets. I like this, man. I want to see this.
Let me say this humbly as possible. I'm the star.
Yeah, well, I can see it's got a picture on this article, and I recognize your rocket with the rail. What do you call it? It's like a rail thing that the rocket sits on.
I don't know, man.
Launch
I had some
platform.
girl say that in court one day. I recognize.
But anyway, I could definitely recognize you. It's just silhouettes of guys standing there, but I see you and I see a couple other guys. But yeah, you're definitely going to be the star of that show.
Yeah, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
So
you got a bunch of camera people following you around right
now. Not right now, no, because I'm half dressed. But no,
okay.
I'm setting.
That's why you didn't want to be on Google Hangouts.
I mean, hey, you've got a whole other industry there that might be interested in you, brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Mike,
So
I'm half dressed.
like
I'm half dressed too. You just can't see that I have my pants.
We're all
on.
half dressed here.
Yeah.
I got jammy pants on.
There you go. See, it is what it is. So it's kind of like it's a big mystery. It's kind of like every time one of my ex-girlfriends they leave, they all wind up the same name, plaintiff.
Oh, God.
Here comes them damn lawyers again.
Yeah, man.
Coming after
What? Let me make this one thing perfectly clear. My idea of a healthy relationship is at least one restraining order.
Becca, you had a question you wanted to ask Mike, right?
Oh, I sure do.
Yeah.
Is it personal?
Maybe it might be. Is that okay?
What are you wearing? What are you wearing?
Who's asking the questions here?
You're on Hangouts, you could see.
I got one. Hey, what size shoe do you wear?
Oh my God.
Okay.
How'd you know what she was going to ask?
You should guess. You should guess.
It's either an 8 or 8.5.
Why do you think that?
Am I right?
No,
That's the average shoe size for a woman.
Oh.
I'm not your
So,
average woman.
I used to. Oh, I like that. I used to sell women shoes. You know the scary part of that?
What's
was
that?
the repeat customers with no underwear.
Oh.
True story. You can't even make this stuff up.
No.
Okay, so what's your question?
Oh, I just want to know your cat's names.
Oh man. Well, Curtis is my biggest male, and then I got another one male named Dino, because I got him in San Bernardino one day. He walked up to me in a parking lot. I got a little cat that's 8 years old named Hallie. I got her on Halloween Day, so that's why her name is Hallie.
Oh, nice.
And I got her, and all of them's rescue cats. There's a feral cat that I rescued that was pregnant about 3 or 4 years ago. They had her babies, and I took care of them and gave them all away. And her name is Lizzie. Like Lizzie Borden.
Oh,
Yeah, she's a little psycho.
how sweet. How are all your cats doing? Are they
Yeah.
okay?
Oh yeah, they're living the dream.
That's great.
Oh, that's good.
You gonna take any of them to space with you?
Actually, I'm going to take. I've got my first cat that I had to have put down in February '98. Her name was JoJo, and I've got her remains, and I'm going to take her with me.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
awesome.
Yeah, I saw that in the show. Yeah.
Yeah, JoJo was just a special cat. Everyone loved her. It's just incredible, and the way I got her was incredible, and it's just incredible.
Wow.
So I think about her. I have grieved about that cat more than I grieved about the death of my parents.
Yeah, you had
So-
me in tears when I was watching you talk about that.
It's it's just like everything else in your life, it's just, you just don't get over some things. You kind of just this is how I explain my life. It's kind of like I'm an onion, okay?
Yeah.
And your onion,
I love
you keep
onions.
peeling away.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
well, you peel away you peel away every layer of onion. Pretty soon, there's no onion left.
Mm-hmm.
There's no onion. You just, I don't know what you got. So that's kind of,
More-
I hope you still
the
got
more
some
you-
onion
the-
left in
wake
you.
up.
And the
Yeah,
more you peel,
well-
the more you cry.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just,
wow.
yeah.
That's nice.
So basically, that's what happens. We all kind of wind up being just scar tissue after a while.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's the sad part. That's the sad part of all this stuff. So anyway, that's the story of JoJo, and she's going to go up to space with me, and if something happens, then we'll go out together.
I think Brad.
But,
Well, there you
she's already-
go.
Together, man.
She's already crossed the Rainbow Bridge.
You'll
Yeah,
get to see
we
it.
actually
man.
paused it on the movie whenever it showed the Rainbow Bridge, the poem
Yeah.
or whatever, and we paused it and read it. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't read it. I just show people that I cannot read it. I can't get through it. I can't. It's just it just is what it is. So
Right.
Absolutely touching.
it was brutal. It was brutal, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Just everything's got a expiration date on it, and this is what gets me about life. People think they have security and insurance, and there's no such thing.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. All it takes is someone running a stoplight tomorrow. All it takes is someone sneezing on you. I mean, it's just bizarre what could happen to you, and you're sick, and then I had a friend of mine that I grew up with who it was a carpet layer, okay? Well, one day, that machine, that thing that you kick to tighten the carpet up with, he had a carpet tack go inside of his kneecap, and it somehow, it's something that's bloody, he's dead in 3 days. I mean, it's just bizarre what could happen to you. So, I just kind of, so what I do, I just kind of the only way I deal with things, I kind of make a joke of it.
Yeah, and you
That's what
test
I've been doing
fate.
for years.
You're like, hey, if this is gonna happen, I might as well test fate from time to time, right?
Do it on your terms.
I think our life, we're supposed to inspire people to bring out the best in people,
Yeah.
and to have people question things, because I tell people this, and this is a serious side of me, and that is everything in our lives is a lie. Nothing is a truth. Nothing ever has been the truth, and it starts with the day you're born. They slap that all caps name on you with a birth certificate like 3 days later, and you're made responsible for it. And you grow up and you find out, wow, man, all these wars are fake, and the government's not real, and the government's bankrupt, and you think, Jesus, So yeah, that's the other side of me, and I have to deal with every day.
We're going to have to get into some of that.
Well, yeah, I wanted to kind of go into that,
lot.
Where that sort of, where you're launching the rockets intersected into flat Earth, and you even mentioned it in the beginning of. I'm trying to think if it was your book or if it was a movie, but you talked about the idea of, is it really about flat Earth, or is it really just getting people to question everything?
Just question everything. They send you to these public schools. Initially they made the military come get people and take them to schools. You know that, don't you? That the military would come get you, take you to school. What? And so basically we're indoctrinated. So when we go to school, we're taught to use a number 2 pencil, to follow the person in front of you, and actually then the real term for a person is a corporation, and don't ask questions. If when you go to the bathroom, you need a drink of water, you got to raise your hand, and don't question authority. So they're prepping you for the rest of your life to be a sheep.
It is true that the public school system, how they operate is kind of patterned off of a prison system, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It actually has not changed since 1920. Yeah, and I quit in 11th grade 3 times. I never went back after the 3rd time.
Me too.
I couldn't do it.
High school dropouts.
Dropout stream.
Yeah, yeah. So if I had to do it all over again, I would have stopped school after the 6th grade, because it's a total waste of time after that.
Oh, I agree.
Speaking of school, if I could ask a question that is kind of school related. What do you mean when you say you believe in some math?
I believe in formulas. I do not believe in science. I do not believe in gravity. Everything has a formula to it. Everything's a formula. I don't care if it's a nut, a bolt, a parking garage, whatever. And most things have a 1.5 times safety factor to it. In other words, let's say the parking garage you park your car on, that thing can take 1.5 times its weight before it collapses.
Right.
Okay? I mean, and that nut and bolt can take, you screw the nut on the same width as a nut, and it's got so much tensile strength before it bends or breaks. A number 5 bolt will bend more than a number 8. Although the 8's stronger, it will snap. With an 8, number 5 will bend. It's just all formula.
Yeah.
So you're basically talking about physical science.
That's like observable science, like data.
Yeah, we've been taught not to trust our eyes or our senses. That's what we've been taught.
I feel like,
and we're told to take the evidence, or knowledge and or words or vision of scientists. Now, can you name 10 scientists off the top of your head?
No.
See what I mean?
Maybe if we combined effort, we probably could.
Yeah, we might be able to.
Well, yeah, okay. But see, so we're taking the words and we're taking the equations, we're taking everything from these people. We don't even know their name. See where they came from.
Well, I mean, and we know some of them.
Einstein was a shield. How come we were not taught about Tesla in school? Nikola Tesla, probably the smartest guy that ever lived.
He was just, what was it? Like, he was just bad at marketing. Like, he came up with great ideas. He just didn't put himself out. Like Edison,
I mean, it was a power struggle between him and
Edison. Edison stealing his shit and marketing it better.
Right.
Yeah, he was actually he was burned out once or twice by the government, I believe, and he died with no money, feeding pigeons, and living in a hotel room that a friend was giving him, letting him stay there for free.
Hey, I think he was married to one of those pigeons.
Yeah, I recall that too. He did get married to a pigeon, which is fine.
I know he liked one. I understand he really had one that he really liked, and once that pigeon died, he was never even the same after that.
Oh,
what
I recall.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, so just people have their breaking points. I mean, if you want to look up smart people, look up a guy named Victor Schomburger. Victor Schomburger probably knew more about water than anybody ever lived. Crystals, how you talk to it, how water logs down a river, and his thing was study nature and reproduce it.
Was he the same guy that invented the water engine and got killed by the government because it would have taken out big oil?
You're talking about maybe Stan Meyer. Stan Meyer had the doom buggy that ran on wire that made the hydrogen when it ran. They poisoned him at a restaurant. He died in his brother's arms at the front of the restaurant.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about.
Stan Meyer. That's a true story. His brother will not even talk about it. And then there was Tom Ogle, who was killed by somebody, 26-year-old mechanic, who had a carburetor, I think was doing 150, 175 miles per gallon in a 76, I think, Ford Torino, and he was found dead. They said he was in an accident, but it looked like his head had been smashed up against the steering wheel. Oh. That's just two of them, okay? And if there's two stories like that, there's 2,000 stories like that.
Yeah, I remember.
They killed William Cooper. William Cooper, they killed him 3 months after 9/11.
Yeah, Bill Cooper.
Wasn't there a guy that
one of the greatest? Yeah.
Wasn't there a guy that invented a car that could run on water or something like that? And it could drive across the country, and if you ran out of fuel, you could just piss in the gas tank, basically.
Who knows? See, you don't know.
Yeah, I thought I remembered like seeing or reading an article or something about this guy back in the early days of cars. Like we're talking like in the 30s, 40s, 50s, something like that. And he had invented this car that you could piss in the gas tank and it would run.
How come that thing's not around anymore?
Because he got bought out by the big oil companies or something. That was the theme of it.
That's what we've been told. You gotta think about this. And what someone told me once on the internet, I will never forget. And this guy said, "I blame the people." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You got to realize, people take these jobs. You got people going to the military. You got people that's lining up to be sheriff's deputies. You got people that works for the CIA. You got people works for the FBI. You got people works for Blackwater. So people are doing these jobs, and they're giving energy to these corporations and or agencies."
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, like if nobody signed up for these jobs, then it wouldn't be a thing.
And this is what I tell people: no soldiers, no wars. I do not support the military. I do not support any police department.
So you said no soldiers, no wars. So the fact that they exist is what, in a sense, causes the wars to happen, because we are. It's like if nobody had a gun, then nobody would be shot. So you're saying that because the militaries are there, there's people that are going to use them to profit off of them. Is that kind of?
Well, that and at one time in Afghanistan, there was more contractors there than there was soldiers.
Yeah.
Well, well, what about the benefit that the military has during national, like natural disasters, like, during hurricanes?
Well, that's what the National Guard is for, the Army Corps of Engineers and stuff like that. I'm not saying we should not have a reserve army, okay?
Like just in case someone else wants to fuck us up, yeah.
Yeah, but you got to realize we spend more than the next 9 countries or whatever on defense.
Right.
Now, some people think it's up to $300 billion. $300 billion a year. Okay, so let me tell you what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you what happens every day in this country. At least $56 million a day goes to NASA. At least $3 million a day goes to Israel. And about $8.3 million per hour goes to the Department of Defense and or military. Now, of course,
it takes a lot to make those things run, though.
Okay. So why can't we just stop 1 year and fix things?
If we could get everyone if we could get all the countries, to put to lower their military spending and just go to reserves, that would be awesome. But we can't really trust everyone else to do that.
Well, okay. Let me tell you this. This country's a terrorist. This country is a terrorist. Okay, we go into these countries and we cause these wars. We prop up these dictators. Then when they're no good anymore, or they want to, then they find out what a third country this is. Then they revolt, and then we kill them.
So we did with
I can't. Yeah, I
now,
don't. I don't
Osama bin
necessarily.
Laden
I
was
don't
a
know if I agree with
CIA agent.
Yeah.
He was an
no.
agent. His name was Tim
Yeah, that's
Osman.
true.
We gave them all the weapons to fight Russia, and that was came out in the Charlie Wilson's War, the movie. Okay, now there's a couple of things that was said in that movie which is pretty chilling by Tom Hanks. He says, and this is by a guy that was a nobody congressman from Nacogdoches, Texas. He said, "I'm not elected by my constituents. I'm elected by my contributors."
Yep.
To that point, okay, the people that donated money to him. And he says, "I'm Israel's men on the hill." Why would you say that for?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, guys. When all this stuff went down in 2008, and they bailed out the bankers that caused the problem anyway, they're saying only 8 people in the world knew about those derivatives, even how it even worked, okay, which is what brought down all this stuff. They were combining all these loans, and mixing this stuff up, and why couldn't we just give this to the people? You could have ended homelessness within 1 month, because every man, woman, or child, instead of giving that money to the bankers, could have got $2,375. I think it's what the math comes down to. That would end in homelessness.
But
Okay.
but there's I mean, with homelessness, there's a lot of addiction problems too, and you know, you give somebody a bunch of money, and they won't necessarily. So it's got to be both. It's got to be put that money into helping those people. I did not expect us to talk about homelessness on this,
right?
But that's cool. I mean, you know, with homelessness, there's 2 issues. One, yeah, they're out of money, and they would probably prefer to have a little bit of money, but you need to rehabilitate too, so that the money gets spent, you know, helping them get out of their homelessness.
Okay, so then you take and give these people an apartment for 1 year, and you got a steady address.
Some kind of a
make
job.
Sure they got a license.
Yeah.
Some kind of and I hate licenses, but I'm saying some kind of identification that they can actually, get some kind of a job.
So they can participate,
then,
in society. Yeah.
So there you go.
And even then, it would just be a certain percentage of it that would actually work out successly. It's not something that would happen overnight or over a year or over 5 years. It would take a long time.
Yeah, like we live in.
No, I definitely agree with Mike. I definitely agree with you in the fact that our military is too big and we've spread it too far over the globe. We have bases everywhere. We do stick our noses into places they really shouldn't be.
Okay.
But when you look at the Middle East, and the thing right now happening with, you have some people want to pull us out of the Middle East, and then you do, and then conflict starts. Well, there's always been conflict in the Middle East.
Always. See, what everyone needs to know about
these things that happen. Yeah.
Well, and I told this to a military guy once. We was on the non-secular show, and there was a guy who's a 10-year veteran. I said, "Are you familiar with PNAC document from September 2000?" He says, "No, what is that?" I go, "Well, you might want to know this." Well, that was drafted by Paul Wolfowitz. And also Donald Rumsfeld, describing all the wars, which are Israel's wars for the next several decades. Not Israel, but Syria, Libya, all these wars that we've been in Iraq, and they want to go into Iran, of course, and it describes them. Okay? Now, 3 months later, after that, Boy Bush, I call him Boy Bush, George W., he comes into power, and all these people would join that administration that was part of PNAC. 9 months later, it's 9/11. Now, after all this is over with, Paul Wolfowitz goes onto the World Bank to run it. Paul Wolfowitz. He was a dual citizen from United Israel. Okay.
Yeah, when you start getting into, I used to be a serious 9/11 truther back in the day, and I still, some of those things you see them and you still kind of shake your head and go, well, I wonder about that. It's just it kind of came down to it kind of came down to me as I don't know either way. I don't know. There's some things that are really weird about all of that, but I just kind of left
Do you
it
think?
to.
Do you think?
Yeah,
they were doing exercises on the other part of the country. What if planes were hijacked the same day this happened?
Oh yeah, it's true.
Okay? And Building 7 went down. Only landing gear hit that. Okay, it just goes on and on and on.
You know,
and they were saying right after this, they were already blaming Osama bin Laden. Did you know there was a video by him, September 20th, denying any part of that played in Europe, did not play here? That video, I've seen the video.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they knew where he's at because he's getting dialysis, I think, at some U.S. hospital in July.
Really?
And he used to do business with see, people don't even know this. The Bin Laden family owns several pieces of water companies here in this country of different cities. They're involved with that. Now, Bush used to do business with them. When the FAA grounded all the planes, some of those planes that actually left after they were grounded went to Saudi Arabia. They flew them out of here. Okay, let me ask you a simple question. What country was most of those terrorists from that hijacked those planes?
Yeah, so
Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What country have we not invaded?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Would that not be the first one? Because they funded the damn thing, and that's who funded Obama's education at Harvard.
Wow.
Yeah. You know the rumor that he was executed at Gitmo September 29th. Have you heard that yet?
No, I missed that.
Right.
Who was executed?
They said Obama was.
Obama.
Obama.
Like Barack Obama?
Yeah.
Was
I haven't heard he was part of the Netflix.
I thought he was at a Lakers game the other day.
I thought I try to be up on
idea.
every conspiracy, and I haven't heard that one. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. No, I know. Just something I came across about 3 days ago. I even called, because I've actually had a lawsuit against him for 2 or 3 years. I actually own the entity Barack Hussein Obama, all capitalization. I've already contacted the Secret Service 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Wait.
I know how to claim legal entities. This is why the Department of Justice is coming after me.
Please don't do it for Verbal Assault Podcast. We really like the name.
No. So just because you want to find out where this guy's from and to find out what his real Social Security numbers, I figured out, how to actually find out who this guy really is. Okay? Now, the law firm that hid all of his records is Perkins Coie, and there's an international law firm. They're in Seattle, Bellevue, they're Washington, D.C. They got like 7 or 8 offices. I mean, it's a huge law firm. I even called them 3 days ago. Hey, I'm trying to get this Obama served. I sent a certified letter to his house on Belmont Avenue in Washington, D.C., and I sent it to the Obama Foundation, and I sent it to your law firm, and I'm trying to get a hold of this guy. And no one's returned that phone call yet.
He's at the golf course, man. He's retired. He's doing his own thing.
He's writing books.
He's like running Netflix and shit.
Oh, that's right.
Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
Martha's Vineyard. They bought that new house.
So where does this go into? Where does this go into the execution thing?
That's just something that's floating around down there. Some ex-military guy saying that right now. I saw the video the other day.
It's something that's just kind of just now coming out, and there's not much out there about it. Is that?
Yeah, but what do you know?
Would they say that? Would they say that if they did?
Well, no.
No. See?
But
now
that doesn't prove that they did it.
It's
though.
just like, do you really believe they killed Osama bin Laden at that Pakistan that house there in Pakistan?
I have no choice one way or the other, really. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
I mean, that's just bizarre. And then the SEAL Team 6, and then that helicopter goes down, kills the rest of them.
That's true.
Like a month or two later, all that stuff. And the reason, and I had someone tell me once that helicopter went down, but no one was on that helicopter. So who knows, man? This country, everyone in this country has had a red, white, and blue dildo stuck up their ass since day one.
Yeah, man, that's a problem that we.
That's why I'm sitting so uncomfortably this whole. That's why I've been shifting around so much.
Okay.
That's a problem that we have to deal with constantly. Is that we don't know we read the news. You got all the major news outlets, and then you have some smaller news outlets, and some people you can follow them for a long time, and you can kind of develop some trust. But when it comes to like global issues, who the fuck knows? Who really knows what
who knows?
It's but I guess maybe that's why I tend to stay out of it. I'm sure that you'd probably say, well, I should still be more interested in it, and I probably should be. But I usually end up sticking with the stuff that is close to me and stuff that I'm really interested in.
Well, and that's true. And really, people want to change the world. And my comment to them: go to your city council meeting,
That's
okay,
true.
and see what's going on in your town council.
Yep.
Start there first.
You're right.
It's a good place to start. So
Hey,
I don't know, man. It's just when you just get to be an older guy or a woman, you start learning about this stuff. You go, wait a second, man. This whole thing has been a lie, and it pisses you. It just pissed me off. It really did.
I gotta understand. What did you mean when you said one of the worst things you could be is a U.S. citizen?
Yeah, because you're a slave then. You're a slave, and you are a resident alien to that 10-mile square area, Washington, D.C. Now, you know that area was donated by 3 brothers, very wealthy brothers. You know what the name of that place was originally?
No.
Rome, Maryland.
Oh, really? It was called Rome?
Huh.
Yes. How come that's not taught in school?
I don't know.
Because the school books are outdated.
Oh, yeah, do you think? Now, the first United States citizen actually came up in 1867 or 1868, and that was the freed slaves, because they were wandering around, could not get a job, could not get a place to live. They were just wandering around, and that was the first United States citizen. And that's the first civil right.
Well, you've gone into areas that I don't know any. I've not heard any of this, and I, like I say, I've been a conspiracy theory junkie for a long time. I've not heard a lot of this. Well, I mean, have you renounced your citizenship to the United States?
No, what I do is I send in letters on my, and I used to have a driver's license, and I got so tired of going to court, and you can't explain to the, and I've met a lot of sheriff's deputies and cops that were nice to me, and I met some that were just completely, they had the IQ of Forrest Gump, okay, and they really shouldn't have a badge or a gun. And if you don't take my word for it, look up Eddie Craig, a former deputy sheriff in Austin, which will tell you the same thing. Most of these people do not have the mentality for the job. Okay, so basically, So I put UCC 1-308 before I sign my name on anything, which is the Universal Commercial Code. That's the remedy. It's basically without prejudice, reservation of my rights. I will not be made to perform under any contracts that's not under full disclosure, and none of these contracts are full disclosure, and they're all adhesion contracts. Okay? You never say you're a resident. You don't reside anywhere. You live somewhere. Okay? And I always like to spell out the state, California. I never like to put the initials, and I try to go without the zip code because that's a federal zone.
What do you gain by, okay, so I think about like the United States and the country as we live in it and how we operate. We have the states, we have police. Now they have, whether you agree with the particulars of the law, everybody else does. So like you talked about having a driver's license, if you don't, then even if you say I don't need one, well, they're going to bust you anyway. So what do you gain by doing things this way? Are you just trying to inform people about this to try to change something? Because it seems like it makes life harder on you.
It does, definitely. I don't have a driver's license, but I have UCC 1-308 signed in front of my name. And also, it claims I'm not a U.S. citizen on the paperwork. And on the passport, they force you to have a capitalization of your name, which is not you. It's a legal entity. I wrote into the State Department saying I am not a United States citizen. You're forcing me to say I am, and you're forcing me into using this capitalization, which is my property. I don't even give you permission to use it. I want my upper and lower case, which is descriptive text from the Chicago Style Manual.
Wow, this is a lot.
Which is how you draft documents.
Well, I guess, it's just kind of like, it's like if you, I'll shoot you and you go, well, I don't believe in your gun, you're still going to get shot. You know what I mean? Why?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So you had to draw. It's like everything else in life. You got to pick and choose your battles.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true. That's definitely
and I've bitten off a lot. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm testing the waters right now, guys. I'm doing a couple of scary things, but I'm doing this for everyone. I'm just not doing it for me, because I'm telling you, we're going down such a slippery slope in this country. In 5 years, there's no telling what it's going to be like. Now, now think about this for a second, guys. What if we all go to autonomous cars? Hey, now there's no more traffic tickets. Now, where's that revenue going to come from? If you want to drive your own vehicle, which I hate to say that, I used to call it private property, now that maybe your registration is going to be $10,000 a year. Maybe gas is $20 a gallon.
Oh.
See what I mean?
Wow. Interesting. Yeah.
Well, I'd say you'd have to have some kind of special permit or something.
There you go. Something's going to have to happen. Something's going to have to happen. So I don't know, man. It's just a lot of things, you know. It's just, I mean, look at what's happened now. National Geographic had a transgender 9-year-old boy on a year ago on the cover. Really? Now they're forcing this stuff down our throats.
Well, they're doing what they've always done, I think, which is displaying something that exists. Like, you know, they're educating people.
Well,
and you know, the subject matter may not be something, you know, that everybody agrees with, but it's still something that exists, and the information is being spread.
Okay, so this is what I tell people about that kind of stuff. Just because you have rights does not mean you have special rights.
Yeah,
well,
everybody should have the
that's
same
something
rights.
that we're all on board with, absolutely.
Yeah, everybody should get the exact same rights.
Yeah, well, there was just a story recently where I think it was a 7-year-old. The parents were split, and the mother wanted the kid to transition, and the father didn't, you know, because the kid is so young. But the court still sided with the mother to have the kid.
Okay, now you just used a word. That's a PC word. Transition.
Yeah.
See, now he's transitioned, okay? It's not that he's changing sex. He's transitioning, okay?
Yeah.
There's all this political correctness stuff is a bunch of bullshit.
Now, wait a minute. If anybody...
Right. We got...
Nathan's cutting out, but I know what he's saying.
I'm like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Say that again, Nathan.
Yeah.
Say that again. You dropped out for a second.
Yeah, I'm saying. I was like, wow. If somebody calls me politically correct, and I really have to
scratch your head on that one. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Examine my life.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, this is what you get with Mad Mike, okay?
I love it.
And we can go back to talking about picking up girls in bars and stuff like that, and cats and whatever. But you know, someone opened up this door. You know,
it's exactly what we wanted, Mike.
One might call a door a transition from one room to the other.
Hey, I like it. I just transitioned from my front door into the patio.
Yeah,
transition. Okay. Yeah. Oh God,
that's beautiful.
You know, I don't know, man. It's just okay. Let's go back to this red, white, and blue dildo up our butt.
All right,
please do.
You know, John Wayne never was in the military. You understand that, don't you?
Yeah.
What was he famous for? Army shows and being a cowboy. Okay?
Right.
He never was in the military.
Yeah.
Now, Ronald Reagan, which a lot of people think was a good guy, I think he was brain dead, and I'm going to give you my reasons in a second. Basically, his movie, I guess, I won't say portfolio, but movie background was done by Republic Films, which is funded by the military. Mm-hmm. Okay, funded by the military. So now, if you look up all these posters from like World War II and the 1950s, you know, support the war efforts. You know, you got the women's got that. You know, what's that? Her name was something the Riveter. You know what I mean? She was
Rosie the Riveter.
Woman. There you go. And they was just brainwashing people to support this effort. You know that around 50 million people died in World War II worldwide, at least. About 192,000 soldiers, men, women, and men and women that was in the medical part of it also. Mm. Now I'm going to give you another scary fact.
Yeah.
Every 22 minutes in this country, a man commits suicide over child support, over the burdens the loss of seeing his kid, or the loss of a professional license. Now you can't make a living. Now, you times that over about 20 years, there's been more men killed themselves over child support than was killed in World War II.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, everything in our lives is relative to the perspective that we look at it.
Yep.
Everything.
Yes.
Now, okay, we'll talk about JFK for a while. Was he a perfect man? No, he wasn't. Was he maybe the last real president? Yeah. The last real hope we had was Ross Perot. Although I didn't like looking at him, he was our last real hope.
I liked Ross Perot.
Yeah. I liked listening to him. He's just squirrely looking. That's why I didn't like him.
You're right.
Who's that congressman everybody likes?
Bernie Sanders.
Same guy. Oh, God, no, not Bernie Sanders. Oh, God. That's not even his real name.
Ron Paul?
Ron Paul. No, not Rand Paul's dad.
Ron
Paul.
Yeah.
Ron Paul. He always wears a shirt that's too big around his collar. I mean, it's like his necktie don't ever fit. It just, he looks like the mad scientist or something. But anyway, yeah, he's a smart guy. But what the hell has he actually done? Except talk. You know what I mean?
Right.
Except talk.
I mean, I think Ron tried. He tried. He just couldn't get it going. He couldn't make it work.
Well, you think he tried? Maybe he's just spending the money to run for president. Maybe that paid pretty good. Who knows?
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Hey, there was a question in chat earlier on that was asking if you supported the universal basic income.
Wow, I don't know what that is.
Pretty much everybody gets a check for doing nothing.
It's like $1,000 a month
for everybody.
Oh wow, there's a country that did that for a while. What was that? They tried it for a while.
Was it Switzerland?
Actually,
that'd be the Netherlands.
The idea behind it is that eventually, there's going to be so much automation that so many jobs are going to be erased that they would have to just give people a check every month just so they could survive.
Finland was the one that did that.
Finland. Okay.
I was close.
It's a possibility. I mean, I don't know. Honestly,
it's one of those things. It's like it almost seems like we would go that direction, but it also seems like it would bankrupt our society. You're just going to pay all these people for not having a job, but it's not their fault because we've progressed so much technologically. Well, yeah, I mean that's true. We're so far in debt. Yeah, you're right.
So basically, this country brings in about $3 trillion a year, supposedly, something like that. Well, the problem is our obligations are $3.8 trillion. I think is what it is a year. So basically, we can't even service the debt on the credit card. That's the best way to explain it. Yeah. We cannot service the debt. Okay. Now, go back to answer that guy's question. That's a good question. How come we're not in profit sharing? Okay, maybe we get a check from the government because we're part of the society, and we're paying for the roads, and we're paying for everyone's salary, these politicians, whatever, and paying taxes. Why aren't we in the profit sharing part of it?
Because we're not making profit.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just like
they just print more money. They just keep printing money.
Yeah. We're in the red here.
So, it goes back to that the birth certificate thing, and I'm going to bring up minimum wage again because what they feel the minimum amount people's going to make in their lifetime is about $680,000 to $1.2 million in a lifetime. So they're basing the taxes on that, but the taxes is the collateral from the bankruptcy in 1933. See, we're just surety. That's all we are. And they're using us for the collateral for the bankruptcy. Now, in 1993, then Congressman of Ohio, James Traficant, made the statement on the floor of Congress that they are this time in the middle of the middle of the biggest reorganization in bankruptcy history. He says the United States only exists by name alone. It no longer exists. We're owned by the International Monetary Fund. That's who owns us. And it owns us since 1933 or 1934. And they called us all the enemy of the state. You can look it up. FDR calls it the enemy of the state. Now, what's the state of? State of New Columbia, state of Washington, state of whatever. Who knows? That's when they called in all the gold. And that goes back to the money again. We had no money. We can only discharge debts. That's all we can do. So how do you actually owe tax? How do you owe taxes on debt-based currency? It's not even currency. It's just
right,
one
so it's
thing.
saying they just print out more when they need it and print out more and keep that bubble going bigger and bigger. It's gonna come down at some point. It's gonna pop.
Well, yeah, we can't even service the debt now, and there's and I am far from being a financial genius, believe me, okay. And the thing is, though, the unfunded or the debt that this country owes and every state owns is scary.
Mm-hmm.
From pensions and from all this stuff, it's not even serviceable. We're just kicking the rock down the road. That's all we're doing. The problem is we've come to the end of the road. Now we're kicking the rock up the damn wall, and it's falling back on us.
I like that analogy a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Mike, we're getting near the end of the show, and I feel like everybody will riot. All the listeners will riot if we do not at least get into a little bit the flat Earth.
Okay, flat Earth. Okay, basically, no one starts with the flat Earth. I didn't start with it. A video popped up one day. I'm going, no way. I said it on Fox Business News with Kennedy one night. You just say, no, there's just no way. I said, holy moly. I think what I told her. But you start looking into it, and I could not dismiss it. Mm-hmm. I just drove across the country, I-40, 2,557 miles each way. Only thing I found was elevation change between the sea level. Mm-hmm. I found no curvature, and there should have been anywhere from, depending on who you believe, 31 miles to 700 miles. There's no curvature. I don't care what they show you from outer space. I don't care what they're telling you. There's no curvature.
Have you ever watched stood on the shore of an ocean, any ocean, and watched a ship go over the horizon and then sink over the horizon? Not shrink, because it doesn't shrink until it's invisible. It gets to a point once it gets to the horizon, and as it goes further, it lowers into the water. Not into the water, but
perception.
it lowers.
It's just your perception. That's all it is. All your perception. It's just like looking down those long hallways in those Las Vegas motel rooms. Okay, the ceiling comes down, the floor comes up, and the sides both come in. It's all perception. But the end of the hallway is 8 foot wide and it's 8 foot tall. See what I mean?
Right, but the ship's not sinking or not shrinking. It's actually getting lower on the water, and you can see that the size is basically remaining the same, and then it's lowering down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah,
well,
there's probably at least 500 videos explaining that on the internet, what you're actually seeing.
The sun does the same thing. The sun does the same thing. You can, let's say if you're on the West Coast on a beach, you can lay down right at the beach. You can watch the sunset, and then if you stand up, you can see a sliver of sun again. You're watching the sun. You're actually watching the sun sink below the horizon.
Yeah, rather than, because I know that in the flat Earth model, it has it spinning around, and you would,
it's like a race.
The shape of,
it's like a racetrack.
Right.
Yeah.
But the shape,
with a flashlight.
Right, and the shape of the sun that you would see, you would start to see it. It would, as it moves away from you and shines on a different area of the Earth, you would see it more like a sliver, like a cat eye. Right?
It would be shrinking.
It would be shrinking in its width, because if it's like a spotlight, you'd start to see more of the profile of that spotlight, right? Seems
let me explain this to you. You're familiar with the gyroscope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
gyroscope, you spin them, they'll straighten up. Okay. Nowhere does a gyroscope, once it starts spinning, spins sideways at an axis. It will either straighten up or it will fall down. The Earth is supposedly a 23 or 24 degree axis, and it's spinning. It ain't happening.
But it does spin on it. Well, in the round Earth model, it spins like a top, and over very long periods of time. They call it the precession of the equinox, and it does wobble like a gyroscope does.
They say it does.
Yeah, they say it does.
You know what? They say it does.
I mean,
They say it does.
I've photographed the stars spinning around a central point of the North Star, Polaris.
Polaris, yeah.
Right, and the stars, and I've done time lapse videos of it, and all the stars rotate around that central point, and in the round Earth model, it is the Earth spinning and causing it to look like the stars are spinning in the other direction. And if you go to the south or the southern hemisphere, which I've never been there, and as far as I know, there's not really a place called Australia, but I assume that it's really there, and the people there don't see the same stars in the sky that we do.
And they spin in the opposite direction because they're on the opposite side of the globe.
Yeah.
Guys, just show me the curvature.
Yeah, that's what I want you to get up there, man. I'm going to be watching you. Yeah, we're counting on you, buddy. I trust you. I think that when you get up there, if whatever you see, make me this promise. Whatever you see, you will report honestly.
Yeah. Yes. I have no agenda. I only want the raw truth. I only want the best for everyone.
That's why I love you.
Most people don't want the best. Yeah, most people don't want the best for themselves.
Right. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Most people have an agenda, and then once they see whatever they see, they will try to twist it and bend it to make it fit with. They call it confirmational bias, or what's the other term? Yeah. That's why I like you. You want to see it.
I just want to see it. I mean, think about it. We live in a bankrupt corporation that people think is a country that over 50 million people voted for Hillary Clinton, thought that was a good idea. That's how bizarre it
is. Hey, it might happen again. She might just throw herself back in there again.
Who knows?
It ain't gonna fucking happen.
I don't know. It's bizarre. Someone even votes that witch. But,
Dick Morris, Morris, who knows her very well, said if she has a pulse, you know she's running.
Yeah. If you just want a character evaluation of her, ask Vince Foster. Oh, I'm sorry, he's dead.
Took over his. If I recall, that's the guy that they took over the computer in his car and slammed it right into a tree, going 60 miles an hour on like a 20-mile-per-hour road.
No, that's somebody.
No, that's the guy that suicided himself, shot himself twice in the back of the head.
Yeah, that's somebody.
That was a former business partner at Rose Law Firm.
Yeah. There's a lot of these bodies floating around.
Yeah.
It's listening to you
who's that
talk.
DNC guy? Seth Rogers, what's his name? Someone just died about 3 days ago.
Oh, really? I didn't
know
that.
Yeah, man, you can't keep track of it.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. That's probably one reason that JFK Jr. got killed, because he was going to run for senator of New York. Now, who would you vote for, Hillary or JFK Jr.?
JFK.
He wouldn't have got a vote.
He was
going to run for senator of New York, and he went down to that plane.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to run for senator.
Yeah, if you're a politician, you never get in a small airplane. Just don't ever do it. Any kind of
God, no.
Yeah,
no, and don't go snow skiing with Sonny Bono either.
Sonny Bono ski team.
Yeah.
Well,
he hits a tree with his body. There's no defense wounds on his forearms. Figure that out.
Now wait a minute. How does that translate into your run for governor and getting in a steam-powered rocket?
Well, I am the only. Okay, I was the only lawful candidate for governor in California because I ran for the office, the governor of the California Republic, the lawful government of 1849. I expressed that when I sent it to Alex Padilla, the Secretary of State. So that's when they ignored me.
Oh.
Now, just to let you know, the legal entity Gavin Christopher Newsom, the guy that thinks he's a governor here, I own that.
You own what? His name?
Oh, you don't like his name?
I own the capitalization of an entity, Gavin Christopher Newsom and Gavin Newsom. I own it.
Wow.
What does that mean?
What do you do with it?
Yeah, what happens then?
It's the same thing he's got with Obama. He owns that too.
But then
make T-shirts.
Yeah, I don't know what. I honestly don't know what that would do. What does that do?
Well, actually, no one can actually use that without my permission. That means it can't be on a license. You can't have a bank account or nothing, because you use my property to secure property.
Oh. And
I have found the nexus.
Have you been able to defend that?
I'm trying to. It's got me in trouble.
Yeah.
You want to try to start avoiding some trouble.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I thought about running for sheriff in San Bernardino County.
Yeah.
That sounds like trouble.
Yeah. We want to keep you around, Mike. We want to keep you around. Don't make yourself a target, man. But then again, I know you don't want to sell out. You want to stay true to yourself, and I respect that.
Don't sell out.
Well,
man.
I'm doing this for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for everybody, man, because I'm telling you, man, they want to chip you. They want to microchip you and do everything with biometrics and eye scans and your fingerprint, and that's what they want. And they want cameras on every corner, and that's what they want. They've just about got it now.
Yeah.
And once that happens, it's all over with.
Anybody else have any pressing questions for Mike while we close down?
Oh, Brad had a pressing question.
Brad.
It's extremely important.
I had a silly one that I was going to ask, but now
I'm single, but I'm not available.
Hey, you and I, we really relate on this because I am 100% on the single train. Single life is the best life.
Man, I am shell shocked. Okay. So it's just
Brad,
so
what was your question?
Well, my silly question was, what's your go-to at Subway? We saw you eating that Subway sandwich in the documentary. What do you get when you walk?
Tuna sandwich on that flatbread, multigrain, mayonnaise only, a little bit of pepper.
Yeah.
How about that?
I go tuna myself. I get the Italian urban cheese myself with the mozzarella cheese and toasted always. Lettuce, tomato, heavy on the salt and pepper. Add that sub spice. Go ahead, go crazy.
No, I like Himalayan salt. I don't like any other kind of salt but that. No, I really try to not. I don't eat any meat, and I try to stay away from white bread.
Okay, fair enough.
That's good.
Yeah, Brad's about that Himalayan salt.
Oh yeah, that's all I
good
use.
for you.
The other question I had is, you don't totally renounce the round Earth theory. It's just that you've been introduced to the flat Earth theory, and that with your way
I can't
of
dismiss it.
You can't dismiss it.
I can't dismiss it.
You can't dismiss either one, though.
Do I know for sure? Do I know for sure? No.
Right.
Do I know for sure my next girlfriend won't cheat on me? I don't know.
That's good. That's good too. That's fair.
Do I know when my cat's not gonna run off tomorrow? I don't know.
Yeah. The only thing you can know is that you don't know, but that's
man. You don't know what
we can
you
say
don't
for
know.
everything.
That's it,
I want you to get up there, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
We're rooting for you.
By the way, I tried to donate to your GoFundMe, and it says it wouldn't let me. It said that
it's paused. It says donations are paused. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up, but I wasn't sure.
Okay,
I was going to give you some Subway money.
Yeah, man. Let me see what's happening there, man. I don't know what's going on. Okay.
Yeah.
Check that out.
I would think that you would be higher up than what you are right now, but they have apparently paused it for some reason. I don't know what that's about.
Okay, I don't either. So let me find out. Okay, guys. I appreciate your time.
Yes,
man, that's all good. I just in the very end, I just wish the best for everyone. I want everyone to be nice to everyone else.
Yeah.
But just question everything, because what I have run across is pretty ugly. Okay, and I don't even know half of it.
Well, you got to stick around for Becca's poem.
Oh yeah. Before she does that, I'll just say we really appreciate you being here, Mike. Is there anything you want to plug or anything you want people to be looking out for in the future?
Well, I tell you what, I met this lady about 2 days ago from Syria. It's about 45. Man, I can plug that.
Oh, 10 out of 10.
Hey, Mike, would you consider coming back on the show?
Yeah, but you got to pay me next time.
We don't make any money.
A Subway gift card.
Gift card. This is what I tell the girls. First time is for love. Second time is going to cost you $20.
Okay.
I'm still on that line.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it.
A good one.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right, Becca.
Okay,
we're ending the show right now, Mike.
What's she wearing? What's she wearing?
Becca, she's got like a pink shirt, like a.
Wait, hold on! Whoa! He did.
Pink shirt.
Yeah, he did a great job guessing my foot size, so I figure we should let him guess what I'm wearing.
Let's see. What is your age?
I will be 30 in less than a month.
Oh, okay. So you're probably wearing. How cold is it there right now? Where you at?
I'm in a warm place.
Okay, so you're wearing jeans. You probably got a pretty nice sweater. You're probably wearing the matching bra and panties, and you probably got your hair pulled back. And
Yep.
yeah. So anyway,
I don't know about the bra and panties,
right.
but her
You
hair
got the
is
hair
pulled back.
Yeah, we can't testify to that.
Nailed it.
All right.
okay.
So
It is what it is.
Yes.
it is what it is. But I have this thing that I do on the show where while everybody's talking, I listen and I pick words from what I hear from everybody and I turn it into a poem. And I think I can say with 100% confidence that this poem is probably 90% words you have said. So
Okay, let's hear it.
okay, so
I've
this
been in
poem
divorce court before, so I've heard everything.
so this poem is called Homeless in Tulsa.
Wow, I used to live in Tulsa. I'm from
All right.
Oklahoma City, 90 miles down the road, Turner Turnpike. Okay.
All right.
Well, this one's for you. Homeless in Tulsa. There's something about that girl, but that's the last thing you want to think about. She's the smartest in the circuit, controls by thrust and wants to kill you, pick you apart, and put you back together until you are a silhouette of a man standing there. You can't get away from the devil at your heels, but you might as well test fate, trust the senses. The only thing you know is that you don't know, but what do you gain from spinning around a central point?
Wow.
Perfect.
Wow. I'm impressed with that.
Thank you.
She's got a book coming out
No,
soon.
yeah. So just I'm going to leave you with one thought, and that is the last person leaving the circus has to lock up all the cages.
That's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I like that.
Well, folks, I know we've got some new listeners, new viewers on Mixer. Hey, you guys can leave us a voicemail. If you've been watching, you see all this stuff down here in the bottom right of the screen. If you want to leave us a voicemail, how do they do that, Brad?
Well, if you want to leave a voicemail, why don't you just call up 865-316-6955 and just talk some shit.
Tell us what you get on your Subway sandwich.
And we're itching for someone to do a Australian impression, just whatever you want to say. Hey,
Yes.
Follow us on Twitter. We're at _verbal_assault_. Well, you're already on Mixer, but if you're watching this on YouTube, we do this live every Wednesday night, about 10:30 Eastern time. Mixer.com/verbal_assault_podcast. How do they support us there, Patty P?
You can support us on patreon.com/verbal-assault. Support us there and like and subscribe and leave a 5-star review on iTunes or however you get your podcast.
And everybody check out Mike's Indiegogo. Hopefully he can get whatever
GoFundMe.
issues. GoFundMe.
Yeah, maybe the movie is realrocketman.com and of course madmikehughes.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Watch the movie Rocket Man. We watched it. We all watched it and loved it.
Right on Amazon.
It's riveting.
Yeah, Mike.
I got some bad news
Mike
about
is awesome.
madmikehughes.com.
And Mike's got a book too. He's got a book that you can get from Amazon. Don't forget about that.
Yep.
Oh
It's
yeah.
called The Tell All Tale.
The Tell All
Your
Tale.
website's down, Mike.
My what?
madmikehughes.com is down.
The man
Is
is
it?
after you, Mike.
Yeah, the man's
Okay.
trying to get you because it's showing me a bunch of shit that ain't you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heads up,
Sounds
man.
good, guys.
Let's get to the bottom of this.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
Later.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, Mike.
much.
All right, and that's it. Nathan,
That's
you want to
Nathan?
thank?
Thank you,
Haywood
everybody.
Haywood Banks.
Haywood
Thank
Banks.
you, Haywood Banks. Thank you, Steve-O, for helping me with all this.
Yeah,
Really,
that was awesome, man. Mad
Great
Mike
show.
is
So
the
good.
man.
so
All right,
good. What a
we're
cool,
signing
what a
off.
cool dude.
Everybody,
What a
everybody in the chat, we appreciate you being there. Yeah,
Come on back, y'all. Wednesdays about 10:30 is when we start. Ish.
That's right.
Maybe a little late.
Yeah.
Come on back, y'all.
all right, we're signing off.
Deuces.
Here we go.